Hey everyone, welcome to Mad Backyard. Today we're going to be making a smoked rack of lamb. Doing a whole rack of lamb is one of my favorite ways to prepare lamb, and it's especially good when you smoke and sear it the way that we're going to show you how to do today. We're going to show you how we trim and season the lamb, cook it on the smoker, and finish it with a delicious garlic and fresh herb chimichurri sauce. One rack of lamb has about 8 bones and is typically around 1.5 pounds in weight. When it's finished, we'll cut these into chops. Plan for about 3 to 4 chops per person, so about 1 rack of lamb for every 2 people you're serving. I got this one at Costco and it was already fairly well trimmed. If you want, you can cut off any excess cartilage and fat from the ends of the bones just to give them a cleaner appearance, and then any big pieces of scraggly fat that are hanging off. But don't go crazy trimming all the fat off the fat side, as this will help keep the meat tender and juicy while it smokes, and we will be rendering a lot of it off later when we sear the rack of lamb. I don't typically use binders on my meat anymore, however, Dijon mustard works really well in this case. The acidity from the mustard is said to help counteract some of the gamey flavor you sometimes get on certain cuts of lamb, and I've definitely found this to be the case whenever I've used it. Next, we'll add some kosher salt and fresh cracked black pepper. You won't need as much salt if you already use Dijon mustard. For our barbecue rub, we're using 2 teaspoons of cumin, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of onion powder. The nice thing about using a homemade rub is you can salt the meat first and control the amount of salt you're using before you add your rub. If you're going to sear the lamb at the end like we are, avoid using sugar or any barbecue rubs with a lot of sugar in them, as the sugar can quickly burn over high direct heat. Let the seasonings rest on the lamb for about 20 to 30 minutes before you put it on the smoker. You can even do this part the night before, wrap it in plastic wrap, and stick it in the refrigerator to save yourself some time on the day of the cook. Go ahead and start up your smoker and set the temperature to 270 degrees. While the rack of lamb does have fat on it, it is a leaner cut of meat overall. So we don't want the lamb to dry out by trying to smoke it at too low of a temperature for too long. 270 degrees will give us enough time to develop some smoke flavor without drying out the meat before it gets up to temperature. Today we're going to be using some Bear Mountain Gourmet Blend barbecue pellets. We'll also be setting up a pellet tube smoker with these pellets, mixed with some cherry wood chips for extra smoke flavor. When mixing wood chips in a pellet tube, just alternate the wood chips with the pellets every few inches, and don't go overboard with the chips or else they can ignite in the pellet tube rather than smoke and smolder. We made an entire video showing you step by step how to light a pellet tube for more smoke flavor. I'll put a link to that video as well as links to all the products we're using today down in the description below if you want to check them out for yourself. Since we're using a pellet grill, I'm also putting my rack of lamb on a wire rack over a foil-lined baking sheet to help block any excessive direct heat coming from below. This also makes cleanup a lot easier when we're done. While it's smoking, we're going to put together a garlic and herb chimichurri sauce to serve with the lamb. In a food processor, combine 1/2 cup of chopped cilantro, 1/2 cup of fresh chopped parsley, 1/4 cup of chopped red onion, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 clove of garlic, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, some fresh ground black pepper, and a pinch of red pepper flakes if you want a little heat. Drizzle in about 1/2 cup of extra virgin olive oil until you have a slightly chunky consistency, almost like a salsa. This is another item you can make the day beforehand to save yourself some time. And it's not just for lamb. This chimichurri works great on beef, especially flank steak. I'll put a link to this recipe down in the description too. Rack of lamb's been on for a little over an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. I'm gonna check in kind of the meaty part here. Yeah, we're right around 135 or so. So 140 is gonna be medium, which is how I like my lamb. If you want it medium rare, you can take it off right here at 135, or even let it take it off a little sooner. What we're going to do is take it off now and sear it for a minute or so over the open flame in the pit boss. So we're going to go ahead and turn this up to high. And then we're going to open up our flame broiler. Give those flames a second to come up here. We're going to let the rack of lamb rest on the baking sheet here for about 15-20 minutes or so. Let those juices redistribute, and then we'll go ahead and slice into it, see how we did, and try it with our chimichurri sauce. Let's go ahead and slice into our rack of lamb. The easiest way to do this is to either turn it over so you can see the bones running through the rack of lamb and you can kind of get an idea what angle they're going, or you can turn it straight up like this with the back towards you so you can see and slice down this way. That's how I'm going to do it right now. So we're going to take our meat slicing knife, we're going to come right down the center here It's just going right through this. There's a little part where the two bones connect at the bottom. You gotta kind of work your knife through that. And then you can bring it apart. You can see we got this nice, beautiful, juicy medium lamb. Came out beautiful. Let's go ahead and slice one of these off and do a chop here. And do the same thing down this side. Cut off a little bit, that's okay. So that's medium, that's taking it to 140 degrees. That's exactly how I like it. If you want it more medium well, take it up to 145. If you want it more rare than that, go for 135. But this looks beautiful to me. We're gonna go ahead and try a bite of this. Can't forget the chimichurri sauce. Try a little of this piece that already got cut off. Just so tender, so much flavor from the rub we put on, and that chimichurri is just cuts right through the richness of the lamb. I'm gonna try another little bite here. You can see it's just so easy to bite through. That fat rendered nicely on the top from how we seared it. We're gonna go ahead and cut these off into some more chops and really enjoy them here. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons if you want to get more content like this from our channel. You can find the full step-by-step recipe at madbackyard.com. I'll put a link to it down in the description below, or you can just search Mad Backyard Rack of Lamb. I'll put links to all the products we used today down in the description as well. Thanks for watching.